I guess that a lot of you really likes checkmating. What do you think of crossing 3500 rating? It's good to be back, guys. So, hello everyone. After some break, I am coming here in English version, and today we are going to solve puzzles. We will start from the level 3450, and my target is to cross 3500 rating on puzzles. I will explain you some rules. First of all, I didn't see any of these puzzles. They are completely new for me. I see them for the first time. So it's not like that I prepared before solutions to them. No. If I click this button puzzles, the new puzzle will come here for the first time. The second rule is even more important. We need to calculate all the variations before we make a move. We can't make something like this. Maybe we will go directly to the puzzle, so let's click it. Oh, you can see we have 3453 rating. We are going to pump into 3500. So I just want to say that we can't cheat. Like, okay, I think that the move h5 is the solution, so I play the move h5 and then we will see is it a good move or a bad one. No, because if it turns out to be good, we didn't calculate it, we just guessed it's the right move, and it's not the purpose of doing these exercises. Our purpose is to strengthening our calculation, is strengthening our understanding of the position, and try to find these critical aspects, especially if it's a training, of course. Yeah, we can train it. It's not a game, so we can relax, we can train, we can try, and yeah, we can also gain some points. So let's jump to this first puzzle. How do I solve the chess puzzles? You can see, you could see on my channel that I created 6 videos of series how to solve easy, medium, and hard chess puzzles. If you didn't see that, there would be an attachment in the right corner of the, right corner is there, oh yeah, right corner. You will see the attachment to this series. But now we are just going to solve the puzzles, and I will try to explain how I think during solving, how I find, at least I hope I would, the correct answers. So okay, introduction is done. Let's go to this exercise. The first thing we need to do is to count the material, right? So as I see, the material is equal. There was no exchanges. Wow, okay. So the material is equal. Why is it important to figure it out? Because if, for example, we are rook down in the position, and we see a variation when, for example, we get a knight or a bishop, this variation might be not satisfying because we are still material down. If the material is equal, we most probably would be satisfied if we end the variation being any material up. So if I gain this bishop or this knight on the end of the variation, I would be most probably perfectly fine. So the material is equal. The second important thing is to find the critical aspects of the position. And this is a really wide subject, but I understand the critical aspect as a tactical motive which can allow to give us a material advantage, which can create some checkmate ideas. In general, these two things. So the critical aspect is for sure this pawn making a fork. We will soon start calculating pure variations, but my intuition tells me that something will happen because of this pawn on f6. I don't know what right now, but something will. And now, and this is probably the only critical aspect, because you can see we played the gambit of the last rank, so we have every single piece on the last rank. We are so passive, so this is probably the only motive we can rely on. So, after counting the material, after finding these critical aspects, now we are looking for SBA. SBA, this is the Polish name of the rule. Checks, captures, and attacks. SBA, szachy, bicia, ataki. You will see the explanation. And yeah, let's start with checks. I see the only check is queen a5, which might be useful because the queen goes out of the pin. So then we can capture one of these two pieces. But after queen a5, I'm afraid that bishop d2 might be solving problems for white. Because now my queen is attacked, I need to move it, then this knight can move, for example, on c4, and white saved all the material. So, calculating it quickly, I don't think it might be the solution. SBA, szachy, bicia, checks, captures, and attacks. Now captures. We see both captures, fg5 and fe5. But after fg5, unfortunately there is a checkmate. After fe5, we lose a queen. So both captures, they don't work yet. But they might work if we consider the attacks. Well, the attacks. It might be any single move which attacks any other white piece. It might be h6, it might be bishop d6, it might be queen c7, it might be queen d6, it might queen b6 even, attacking this pawn. There are many possible ways for black to play. But as I told you, chess is a really rich of possibilities game. So we can't consider 40 moves in one position and then to choose maybe, oh, these are the best 26 possibilities, and then from these 26 we just take the 10 best. No, because it would take too much time, and this is not how the chess player works during the game. As I told you, we have this critical aspect, this pawn making a fork. We see that this pawn can't make a move because of the checkmate or loss of the queen. So my intuition tells me that it might be the move queen c7. Why this move? Because let's have a look. This queen goes out of the pin, so now these two pieces are hanging, and what's moreover, the queen protects from the mate on f7. So the thing is that after queen c7, I created additional 2 threats. And what white can do? Well, we can again now do this CCA SBA rule, checks, captures, and attacks. After queen c7, queen h5 might be a move. And if we move with the king, there is a fork, so we lose a rook. I don't like it. After queen c7, queen h5, maybe g6 move. And again, we attack every of these 3 pieces, but knight g6. And if h g6, queen h8, fg5, queen g8. We are exchanged down, and the queen is really active on this g8 square, and our king is stuck on e8. But after queen c7, queen h5, g6, knight g6, we are not playing checkers. Remember, we are not playing checkers. What does it mean? It means that captures are not mandatory. So after knight g6, I have queen f7 move. At least this is what I think it is. Because now the queen doesn't longer look at our king. We are attacking the knight, we are attacking the bishop. The rook is impossible to take because the queen is hanging on h5. So I think this is the solution, but I am not 100% sure if this queen c7 move is correct one. So I will not play that and then think, oh, after queen h5 we'll think. No, we are following the second rule. We need to calculate all the variations and all the best responses of the opponent if we want to solve this puzzle correctly. Queen c7, queen h5, g6, knight g6, queen f7, and let's say knight f4. I can now exchange queens and take this bishop, and I am piece up. Queen c7 looks really promising to me. I bet this is it. What else what can play? If some random moves, I can take any of this piece. If queen h5, there is g6, knight g6, queen f7. I think I would go for queen c7, g6, and queen f7. Exactly. Yeah. Wow. Okay. It took us 8 minutes, almost 8 minutes, but mostly I was talking, so that's why it took us so long. But everything is great, so we can go immediately to the next position. Again, let's count the material. The material is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We are 2 pawns down. So again, what does it mean? If we end the variation and gain only 1 pawn, let's say, the material advantage is existing only for black. Critical aspects. I see this bishop is active and it attacks the f7 pawn, and also knight is attacking the center. Again, if we play knight e5, we can even make the bigger pressure on this f7 pawn. So the critical aspect of this position might be our pieces attacking the f7 pawn, most probably. We can play bishop f7, we can play knight e5 and bishop f7 combined with knight e5. Many variations are possible. So, yeah, let's try to calculate. Captures, bishop f7 and bishop b5. So after bishop b5, black can play c6 or just any defense from the check. It doesn't convince me, if I have to be honest with you. It doesn't really convince me. Bishop f7, king f7 is really tempting. But after knight e5, let's say king g8 even, knight g6, even black doesn't have to care of this rook, because if I take the rook, I would give up 2 pieces for the rook, which in general is, well, it's not it's not what we can dream of. Captures knight e5, and we attack the f7 pawn. This is really good. As I understand the position well, the only defense is bishop e6, because knight e5, knight d5, it stinks somehow, you know? Some queen h5 ideas, maybe knight e5, knight d5, knight f7 even, king f5, king f7, queen h5, and this knight is attacked twice, and after king e6, rook e1, so this knight will die on d5. But knight e5, bishop e6. And again, we can start calculating checks, captures in the attacks. Knight e5, bishop e6, bishop b5, c6. Still, it doesn't work. So knight e5, bishop e6, bishop e6, f e6, knight g6, rook g8. Well, this knight might be really annoying, but still we are a pawn down. So if black manages to end the development, they would be perfectly fine. Knight e5, bishop e6, bishop e6, f e6. Maybe queen d3 or something like this, to jump with the queen on g6 and try to give some unpleasant checks. The more I look at this move, the more I like it. Knight e5, bishop e6. Because maybe knight g6, there is also an option. Knight e5, bishop e5, knight e5, bishop e6, and knight g6. But anyway, rook g8 even. Or even bishop c4. Yeah, bishop c4. Rook e1, bishop e6, knight h8. This knight is stuck on h8. I don't like it. So knight e5, bishop e6, f e6, and queen d3. We attack the g6 square, and we want to enter there with a queen. Let's say black plays queen d5. Then I can give a check. King e7, because after king d there would be knight f7, and we will grab the rook. So king e7, queen f7, king d6, and maybe bishop f4 developing a piece. Again, I know that now we are still a pawn down, but the king is on d6. We developed some pieces. If the king moves even further, it might get in a really hard trouble. Queen d3. To be honest, if this position occurred in a game, it would convince me. I would go for queen d3. And would just be happy with this position. Really. Because we are harassing this king. Queen d3. If queen d6, queen g6, king e7, there is knight f7. Of course, I am also caring about doing these exercises pretty quickly, like not to think hour or 2 hours on one exercise, because it's not useful. It's not a practical way to solve them. I told in many times on my recaps of the tournaments that in many games I play too slow. So if I spend 1 hour or 2 hours analyzing the position, it is not useful, because I would be then during the game I would think, okay, still I can think 2 hours. If I find the best solution, it would be good. But no, 2 hours. After 2 hours of thinking, you're losing on time. So we need to also go there from the practical side. If we want to manage our time well, we also have to play quicker. It really convinces me. Knight e5, bishop e6, f e6, queen d3, if queen d5, queen g6, king e7. Even I can play queen f7, king d6, and if bishop f4 is not enough, I can even play knight g6, attacking these two pieces. And I think should be fine, so I go for it. Knight e5, I just take and play queen d3. Knight c6. Okay, knight c6. I still can go for check, king e7, and queen f7, and king d6. Knight c4, king c5, queen e6, queen d5. Is black holding it? It might be also queen g6, king e7, queen f7, king d6, knight g6, and rook g8, bishop f4, but then e5. It stinks. Oh, queen e6, queen g6, king f7, knight f7. Just simple fork, of course. Yeah, okay, so done. I just want to only check... yeah, let's check maybe this variation queen g6, king e7, and knight f7, the best move, of course, attacking these two pieces. Okay, keep going. There was a... you could see 4 times in a row. It is most probably that I've done some 2 puzzles before recording it, just to be sure that everything works. But yeah, we are still on a perfect score. Material. We are piece and pawn down. So something really, really concrete should work there. Really concrete. Critical aspects, of course, the king. The king is weak. We have many pieces around him. We have rook, which attacks the f6 knight. We have the queen, which attacks the f6 knight. We have a queen, which attacks the g7 pawn. So, my intuition, this is the first thought. My intuition tells me that I have to somewhere add the rook to the attack. This is the first thought, but before we think, we need to calculate. So, the critical aspect is the king. Right, and if we gain a pawn, it doesn't satisfy us, most probably. Let's go. Checks. Rook f6. Queen f6. There's no rook f1 because queen f1. Rook f6 doesn't work. Queen g7. Queen f6. I think we know the answer. So captures. Rook f6 is also the capture and queen g7. Okay, so we... all the sensible checks are also the captures, so they just don't work. Rook f6, queen f6, king g7, queen f6. We are blundering the queen, so it's not the way. It's not the way we should go for. Attacks. Well, rook g1. We need to think of rook g1, because queen g7, queen e7 is the deadly threat. It is deadly threat. How can black avoid this? Well, rook g1. If rook h7, protecting the pawn, I can just take the queen. With the queen. I would love to take the queen, but no, with the queen on h7. So rook g1, rook g3. Well, maybe it's all about rook g3, because rook g3, queen e1, king b2, and queen e5. Now the c3 square is protected, so queen e5, I suppose. And maybe c3. Because bc3, king c2, we have these squares protected. So there's no check. Okay, let's calculate it once again. Because after rook g1, there is no other defense. Queen g7, queen e7 is deadly threat. Creating help for e7 square doesn't work because there's immediate mate in 1. So rook g1. Rook h7, this is queen h7, there is no something stupid like queen e1, because rook e1. This square is protected, so I don't have to be afraid. Rook g1, rook g3, queen e1, king b2. He can't take the rook because I give a checkmate. So, he plays after queen e1, king b2, queen e5. And if I come back to the first rank, he keeps checking me on e1. So queen e5, I play c3 move. Still there is a threat on g7. If he takes with the rook, there's no check, so I give a checkmate. If he takes with the queen, I grab this queen with the rook on g3. And if he takes with the pawn on c3, I have king c2, and apparently there is no check. Because queen e4, the knight is pinned. Queen f5, rook f5. And still queen g7, queen e7 is the threat. He can take the pawn on d6, but after taking the pawn on d6, I can make many options. I can take the knight, I can give a check and take the knight. So after calculating this, I am almost sure this is rook g1, because I don't see any defense from black, because this knight is pinned. Queen g7, queen e7 is inevitable, so rook g1. Rook g3, okay, so I take with the rook. I play king b2. Rook c2 was the thing I missed. I have to admit. I missed it. No, but it's not dangerous. I can take with the rook. Queen e5, king b1. The rook is protected. Right? So king b1, queen e1, and rook c1. And he can't give me a check, but I can exchange it. So I take with the rook. Let's go. Material. Wow, we are pawn up. We are pawn up and we are playing white, so nice combination. Okay, but it's of course not the end of calculation, because we are pawn up, but we should probably end this game somehow. The critical aspects. Again, we have the pieces looking in front of the opponent's king, so I guess it's all about it. We have knight, which can capture on e6 and can make a fork, so maybe everything will work out because of this f7 pawn. If it disappears, the fork can happen. There is a rook also around the king. The queen can really easily enter to the attack. So the critical aspect is definitely the king side. So we don't care about the queen side, we don't care about b5 moves, queen a2, etc, etc. They are too slow, and it's not the area we should focus on. Okay? So calculate. Let's start calculating. We are focusing on the king side. Captures. No captures. Checks first. Knight e6. F e6. We lost a knight. Probably something like rook g6 also. And king g6. Queen g2 and king f7. No. It's not definitely the way. If I want to start with the check, I think I should consider rook g6 first. King g6. Queen g2. king h7. And I don't see the follow-up, because queen g5, I exchange queens, so it doesn't roll like this. But rook g6, if the king escapes, I take the free piece, so I'm not afraid of that. King g6. Rook g3 check is tempting, because the rook is covering the g8 square, and if the king escapes on h7, I can give a check on d3, let's say. So rook g6, king g6, rook g3, king h7, queen d3, f5 en passant checkmate. So knight f5, knight f5, ef5, queen h5, king h6, queen h3. It is checkmate. Queen h4, queen h4. Rook g6, king g6, rook g3. If king h5, I go queen e2. King h5, king h4. I don't know. Knight f3, king h5, knight g5, king h4, and rook h3. We found the checkmate. Rook g6, king g6, rook g3, knight g4. I can take with the rook. If king h5, maybe just queen g2. There are too many pieces around the king, and the king is on h5, so it can be easily checked. Probably even easily checkmated. No, but after king h5, there's rook c3, and we covers the the h3 square. So rook g6, king g6, rook g3, knight g4, rook g4, king h5. No, but okay, what I am talking about, even rook g5, even queen e2. I can assess this position intuitively, right? So I just see that with the king on h5, with my pieces located there, with some, you know, checks along the g file, rook g5 is a threat. No, like, no way black can survive. There's just no way. There is no piece which can even help the king. So rook g6, king g6, rook g3, king h7, queen d3, knight f5, knight f5, let's say rook c3. I think I can take the rook, ef5, I can give a check on h3, king g7, queen g3, king f8, and I can take the rook. Right, so I take the pawn on g6. And rook g3, really important thing, knight g4, rook g4. That's right! That's right, that's right. Next, c3. Material. Material. Wow, it's getting even more insane. We are piece up, right? No, but this is a piece for 3 pawns. So it's not that clear. It is not that clear. So it's a pawn, it's a piece for f3 pawns. Critical aspects. And to be honest, it's not that easy to point it. Or maybe it is. Like, I see the most active piece is our rook. So I see that it attacks something on g7, something next to the king. As I told you, the checkmate threats, the threats which can happen to the king, they are most useful, they are most natural to calculate at first glance. What else? This bishop is unprotected. So if by some miracle I give a check on a2, I can take this bishop. But it's really hard to get on a2. So most probably it's not all about this bishop on a6. I think the whole action will happen again on the king side. So let's calculate. Now let's start calculating variations. Rook g7, king g7. I don't think if we pointed our rook as the most important piece, I don't think we want to sacrifice it in the move number 1. Especially after queen d7, there are many things, king h8, even rook f7, many ways where black can defend. Queen d5 is another check, and it makes black king to go for h8. And this position might be also tempting, because now maybe there is a one piece closer to the king side. Maybe something like bishop h6. I would love to play one time or one day this idea, but gh6. Now if I manage to get to the h7 pawn, this is just a mate. But from d5, with this pawn structure, getting to f5 is not easy. Queen d5 is really tempting, but after king h8, at least I don't see the continuation. So maybe we will keep that in mind, but let's consider captures then. Rook g7, knight e5. Yes, knight e5 is for sure, again, really tempting move. Because the diagonal d1 h5 opens for our queen. So this might be also a thing. Knight e5, f e5, something like maybe queen g4. But rook f7, if queen e6, even bishop c4. And black protects everything. So knight e5. Knight e5 might be also too slow. Like, the benefits of taking on e5, they are not enough to prove that this move is correct. But maybe knight e5, f e5, and now queen d5. Maybe we have something like this: king h8 and queen e5. And we get the g7 pawn, but rook f6. Okay, this exercise might be a little bit more complicated because I see many possible ways to continue the attack, but I know there's only one correct way to continue the attack. What else we can realize there? Attacks. There's also rook a7 capture, but we, of course, don't consider it seriously. Attack. Bishop h6 is an attack. Bishop a3 is an attack. What else is an attack? Bishop h6. Yes, bishop h6 looks also promising. Because we are targeting this g7 pawn. And if the pawn from g7 disappears, g takes h6, maybe now I can play knight e5 and create a threat of queen g4. Okay, so maybe we're onto something. But maybe. Because after bishop h6, again, we remember checkers, chess is not checkers, so the captures are not mandatory. Rook f7 might happen. Rook f7, king f7. Queen d5, king g6. Queen a8. Bishop f1. Now the position is a little bit different because this king is on g6. So if I come back on e3, queen e8 is a checkmate threat. But he can escape on b5. I can go knight h4. King h5. Let's be brave. Right. I still don't see the follow-up. Bishop h6 is really tempting. Like this, all moves combined, they are really tempting. Now we need to find a correct move order, and then we can clinch it. So, again, if we are stuck in calculating, I start this process again. Like, queen d5, king h8. Did I foresee something? I don't think so. The king on h8 is safe, and queen on d5 with that solid pawn structure, I don't think this is it. I don't think this is what we are looking for. Knight e5. But just f e5. And queen g4, rook f7. Rook f7, king f7. Maybe queen d7. And king f8. Now if we give up a piece, we are few pawns down. Interesting. Es una posición muy interesante. Bishop h6. No. Bishop h6, gh6, right? Queen d5, king h8. No. Bishop h6, gh6, knight e5. Queen e4, there is also a move, which covers these two important squares. And queen b3, king h8. Knight f7, rook f7, queen f7, queen g6. We gained some material, but now we are about to exchange queens and to lose this rook. And this pawn is also really dangerous. It is just 2 squares away from the queening. Tough nut to crack. Guys, please, if you know the answer, write in the comment section. Write in the comment section your thoughts about it. Bishop h6, gh6, maybe knight d4, maybe knight d4, but king h8. I think I am missing something simple. Because right now I don't see the solution. Maybe knight e5, f e5, queen d5, king h8 and bishop h6. I also thought about it in that way. Because now the bishop g7 is the threat. The only way to protect is this rook g8. But bishop g7... Wait a sec. Knight e5, f e5, queen d5, king h8, bishop h6, rook g8, bishop g7, rook g7, queen a8, rook g8, queen d5 again, queen d5 again. There is a queen e5 checkmate idea, and if queen d4, queen f7. And this is queen f6 and queen h7. So maybe it's knight e5. f e5, not queen g4, but queen d5 and bishop h6. Huh. Maybe it is all about this. Yeah, let's knight e5, f e5, queen d5, king h8, bishop h6, rook g8, bishop g7, rook g7, queen a8, rook g8, and queen d5 again. Knight e5. Maybe queen e4. But after queen e4 I have queen b3 at least and knight f7 check. Yes, we are spent 12 minutes. 12 minutes is way too much. Way too much. Okay, so calculating this in the game, I would close my eyes and play knight e5, really. This is what I would play. I am risking. Ah, you see, it's incorrect. Okay, I failed. I failed. So, guys, for now, if I failed, this is the end of this episode. Okay, but let's maybe first, before I end, let's check. Queen d5, knight e5. No, so I calculated this line, but in the wrong move order. Well, what did I miss? Why after c3 I can't start with knight e5? Queen b5. Ooh. And this, and this, and these two squares are protected. I missed this move, queen b5. So I saw the correct idea, but I messed up the move order. Yes, this is even more forcing line. Right. After bishop f1. Ah, because now I was concerned about knight f7, because I didn't know what to do after this and this. And after queen f7, rook g8. But there is bishop h6 idea. Every single time this bishop h6 idea. So you see, I knew the idea. I even found the correct way to end this exercise, but I did it in a wrong move order. And as you could see, it changes everything. It changes everything. So yeah, guys, it's I failed. So we are not giving up, because we see each other in the next episode of entering 3500. And please give me a feedback. Did you like it? Did you like this series? And see you in the next video.